Greetings, everyone. I am Dr. Wolf, and I just watched Daring Doubt. And yeah, I was actually pleasantly surprised by this one. I mean, when I first read the synopsis for this many weeks back, I was curious. Wait, if there is another writer telling another side of the story, is Rainbow Dash gonna have to come to terms with the idea that maybe her idol, her hero, is not infallible, that she can and does make mistakes even with good intentions? I was most curious to see whether they'd follow that story angle. And to some extent, they certainly do. I mean, in the very beginning, when Fluttershy shows up and she's reading a Daring Do book, and well, now there's at least 3 Daring Do fans within the main 6, and yeah, it's a little convoluted, but I can accept that for the story we were allowed to have here. And it's pretty apparent from the beginning that when Fluttershy is showing Rainbow this other book written by another author, and I figured, yeah, that's gotta be Dr. Caballeron. And of course, Rainbow would immediately dismiss anything that happens to put Daring Do in even the tiniest bit of bad light. And I was most curious, well, Fluttershy is obviously going to mediate between everyone. Fluttershy is certainly going to be the one who wants to listen to every different perspective and show kindness. And yes, I will say, this is an excellent example about why Fluttershy is perhaps my most relatable character in this entire show. She is being sweet and adorable, and most of all, understanding and kind. It's like my very first video. Fluttershy's weakness is part of her greatest strength. It gets her into trouble, but it allows her to bring perspective and understanding to even the most dire of situations. So yeah, Fluttershy is being best pony here. Now, when it reached the point where Daring Do has to deal with upset fans who are demanding answers about whether what's written in this new book is true, I was under the impression, well, obviously there's gotta be some nuggets of truth in here that Daring Do is gonna have to admit to, and one in particular, apparently she kicked a puppy. That one little nugget is enough to get all kinds of fans upset and think that their hero, their idol, has suddenly betrayed their trust. And as I was watching this, it really started to feel like real-life celebrities. Anyone who does even the slightest thing wrong can suddenly get upset and irate fans following them around demanding answers. And if you get just a few nuggets of truth that puts them in a bad light, just a few, it can make fans feel like they've been betrayed, that someone that they've idolized and looked up to and even felt inspired by is suddenly not quite so perfect. That's a pretty harsh lesson for pretty much anyone to learn. I mean, whether it's movie celebrities or TV celebrities or book celebrities, or it even reminded me of YouTube celebrities. You get a few nuggets of truth that puts anyone in a bad light, and you've got a horde of angry fans demanding answers and demanding that they be pulled down from the celebrity status and maybe even shunned. There's all kinds of examples that really fit with this. And I like that they were able to explore some of that angle here, because Daring Do, towards this little pony fan, has to admit, yes, I kicked a puppy, but it was by accident. That's still something that makes anyone to feel betrayed, despite every good intention that Daring Do has. And I like that this episode points out, well, she is causing a lot of destruction with these temples. And maybe she isn't thinking about the well-being of the environment or the animals that she comes across. It's a fair point. Of course, this is coming from Dr. Caballeron, and we know that his motivation has been primarily about greed. He wants to sell these ancient golden artifacts to the highest bidder. We know that he has ill intent. but even from someone who doesn't always tell the truth. And I like the way Fluttershy puts it here. Every creature deserves kindness. Again, Fluttershy is being best pony here. As soon as Daring Do had mentioned the true talisman and that it can get its wearer to always tell the truth, I realized, oh, this is going to be a circumstance where both Dr. Caballero and Daring Do have to admit their faults in front of Rainbow Dash. And yeah, we certainly got that from Dr. Caballero, and yes, we see that his initial motivations were all about betraying Fluttershy, but again, because Fluttershy is so understanding and so kind, even he's able to change what he wants. So I figured that a lot of the circumstances in this final temple collecting this treasure is going to be all about Rainbow Dash having to learn to accept that Daring Do is not infallible. They got a little bit of that, but not too much. Instead, it's actually Zodel who gives us much more of a, well, wait a second, we never really considered that perspective before. That it's his job to protect these artifacts in the first place, and these two have been constantly stealing them. He's probably the one setting up all these traps. And can I say also, the Guardian Goyles are a pretty interesting design, and yeah, I kind of wish we could have had more of them throughout the series. But all in all, I love this lesson. I love how it was presented, and I love that Fluttershy was the one to really make it work. This is the best side of her character. Even though I kind of wish that Rainbow could have had more moments where she'd have to learn my idol, my hero, can falter and maybe isn't doing the best things all the time. And even Dr. Caballero, despite the fact that he's motivated by greed and constantly lies and even tries to leave others to their death on occasion, he can still have a few nuggets of truth in his perspective. And I love the idea that it was set up with these big cats early on that, yeah, Fluttershy is the kind of pony who always wants to listen and always have a kind demeanor, and yeah, that's kind of setting up towards the end. That even though these ferocious creatures charging at you, and in the case of Zodel, he's trying to bust down the temple and crush them in this little dead-end space, as long as others can feel understood, you'd be surprised at how much good everyone can contribute. And yes, it even shows that Daring Do and Dr. Caballero can work together and actually create something of value, where they stop hunting for artifacts and go back to writing books and realize, okay, maybe we're not as good at this as we thought. I did want to mention that this episode is not quite as funny as the last couple of entries. I mean, we had both the over-the-top rarity expressions and drama, followed by Starlight and Phyllis. Those are really entertaining and memorable moments. And I can't think of anything in this episode that really measures up quite that high. It's not quite as funny, but it presents an excellent lesson. And something that really makes you think. Whether it has to do with movie celebrities or TV celebrities or book celebrities or YouTube celebrities or what have you. How quickly can fans turn when they hear just a few nuggets of truth that puts their idol, their hero, in a bad light? Suddenly demanding answers, suddenly even shunning those that they looked up to. I wish this episode could have explored this angle a little bit further, but for what we were given, it's well thought out. And I still think that Fluttershy's weakness is part of her greatest strength, and this is a great way of showing just that. In the meantime, though, I would like to hear from each of you. Given how much we've known about Rainbow and Daring Do, Dr. Caballero, Zodel, did this episode actually surprise you in how they were able to bring all these characters together and have genuine purpose in the story? and especially towards the lesser. And what do you think about Fluttershy with her sweet, adorable nature that allows for kindness and understanding and actually resolving conflicts in a way that none of these other characters would have ever thought of? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, because as always, I am Dr. Wolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.